Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video tonight I am going to be giving you an update on some more transfer news and that. So there is lots to talk about on this current video. Obviously, we are already making plans for the summer, and these are quite a few players on our agenda because more signings are needed at Manchester United in the summer. We also need to see more outgoings and that. Obviously, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got recommended in, he has recruited 5 new players to Manchester United, and he has been here now for nearly 14 months. Solskjaer last summer did bring Daniel James in, who he spent around £15 million on. He hasn't been so good though in the last month, but I think prior to that he's done really, really well. Obviously, we bought Wan-Bissaka in for around £50 million from Crystal Palace. I think he's done really well at right back for us, and I think he can be our right back for the next decade. And we also brought Harry Maguire in for £80 million, and of course he's the club's second most expensive signing, just behind Paul Pogba, and he is the most expensive defender in the world. But I think he's done mainly well. He's had a couple of bad games, but I think prior to that he has done well at the back for us. And obviously, in the January transfer window, Solskjaer brought Bruno Fernandes in. I think, was it a day before deadline day? We spent £68 million on Bruno Fernandes, around £46.5 million up front, with add-ons included. And Bruno Fernandes, I think, is our 4th most expensive signing. Obviously, he's going to be here for at least the next 6.5 years, because Bruno Fernandes did sign a 5.5-year deal with an option of a further a year. I think Bruno Fernandes did really well on his debut against Wolves. Don't forget he had the most touches. He created the most chances for us. But I think he's going to do really well. I think Bruno Fernandes, from his own perception, is delighted to represent the club. So I think Bruno Fernandes is going to do really, really well. And, Solskjaer was saying that, we've seen glimpses of how good, he's going to be. Obviously he's got fantastic character. He's a fantastic human being, and will be a great addition to the squad. So this is what Solskjaer was saying about Bruno Fernandes. And obviously it did get confirmed on deadline day, just before the January transfer window shut, that Manchester United had signed Odion Ighalo from Shanghai Shenhua. We currently got him on loan until the end of the season. Manchester United have paid around £3 or £4 million to get him in on loan, but there's no option to buy. But I don't see Manchester United making the deal permanent anywhere. Odion Ighalo, of course, he's an experienced player. And obviously, I did say, I wanted Manchester United to get an experienced forward in. And we've got one now, because Odion Ighalo is 30 years of age. Don't forget, he is a Manchester United fan. He's well proven in the Premier League. And Odion Ighalo, I do presume, will be making his debut in our game against Chelsea after the winter break. So Solskjaer was saying that, this winter break is a useful period for our incoming. So obviously, they can be prepared for the game against Chelsea and that. Odion Ighalo, scored around 46 goals in 72 games in China. Obviously, he served 3 years at Watford when he was younger, and he scored 39 goals in 99 games for Watford. So he was actually, very, very good at Watford. Last year, he was a top scorer of the African Cup of Nations. He's been at a few other clubs as well. He had a spell at Underneath when he was younger. He also had a couple of loan spells in Spain with Granada. He also, I think, had a spell with Lille. So he did play in Norway when he was younger as well. But I think, he'll do well for Manchester United, and I'm very hopeful that he will get given his chances. Will Odion Ighalo. Don't forget, Tottenham tried to get him on a 6-month loan, but obviously, his preference was a move to Manchester United and that. But I'm very delighted that we've brought him in. Don't forget, Man United are paying a third of his wages. His wages are around £300,000 a week, which is a substantial amount. So we're going to be paying around £100,000 of his current wages. But like I mentioned, good alternative to Anthony Martial, because he's in bad form. He's in bad form at the moment. Very good cover up for Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford's obviously out injured for a couple of months. Don't forget, he's sustained a double fracture in his back. So, like I said, Rashford's been one of our best players this season. So I'm glad, that we did get Odion Ighalo in on loan, basically. So it'll be interesting to see, how he performs at Manchester United. But I can't see anywhere Man United making the deal permanent. Then, unless he does really, really well, or Man United, get more injuries, then maybe we could consider making the deal permanent. So, yeah, so he has recruited 5 players, Solskjaer, since he's coming, revert back to what I said. But we are already making plans for the summer. So, reportedly, Manchester United are still keen on signing James Maddison from Leicester, despite the fact that we've got Bruno Fernandes in. We've been long admirers of James Maddison. We think we've been interested in James Maddison since June. I think quite a few other clubs have attracted their interest in the player. And I would like James Maddison at Manchester United because, for one, he can score goals, he can provide assists, he can create chances. Don't forget, last season, James Maddison created more chances than any other player in the Premier League. And now this is his current second season with Leicester. And he's doing really, really well. And I think now in his second season, he's replicating what he did in his first season with Leicester. He's still under contract, I think, with Leicester until 2023. So he's still got around 3 years left on his deal. He is only 23 years of age. He is predominantly an attacking midfielder, but he tends to play out wide quite a lot under Brendan Rodgers. Leicester did pay £20 million to him from Norwich in the summer of 2018. He did serve a good couple of years in the Championship with Norwich. Obviously began his career with Coventry. Was a product of their academy. Also had a loan spell with Aberdeen in Scotland, did the player. But again, I think, he would be the right calibre player for Manchester United, would James Maddison and that. But, we've been in for him for quite a while. He will cost us a substantial amount. I think we'd probably have to pay probably around 60 or 70 million pounds to get him in. That's probably how much we'd have to pay to convince Leicester to offload him. So we'll probably have to pay a similar fee or the exact same fee as what we paid for Harry Maguire and that. So yeah, we still reportedly are interested in recommending James Maddison in. Jadon Sancho, now Manchester United are still interested in him. Liverpool are also considering making a move for Jadon Sancho in the summer. To be fair, I don't know how he'd fit Liverpool's system. I think, he'd fit our system better than Liverpool's. We was relentlessly, linked with Jadon Sancho last year. We was in for him in January 2019. The main explanation why we didn't get Jadon Sancho is because, we failed to qualify for the Champions League, and Jadon Sancho obviously, wanted to be in Champions League football and that. And, obviously, Borussia Dortmund wanted around £100 million. Manchester United were not determined to pay this £100 million that they're, we was determined to pay that money. Because, we've got the resources in the backing of the club and that, and the financial power to meet that current valuation, because we are one of the richest clubs in the world. But, because we didn't get Champions League football, that's why we didn't get Jadon Sancho. Jadon Sancho is a decent player. I think, this season he's enjoyed a difficult time with Borussia Dortmund. Obviously, he's been service to requirements. He's been dropped in quite a few games as Jadon Sancho. And I think now he's coming into his third season with Borussia Dortmund and that. Obviously, he's well Premier League proven, he's Jadon Sancho. He did serve a couple of years with Manchester City. Obviously, the main explanation why he didn't last at Man City is because he never got any first team opportunities at Manchester City. Obviously, before he was at Manchester City, he was at Watford. I think he's still got a contract with Borussia Dortmund until 2022. And he is predominantly a right winger, is Jadon Sancho. But still, I would be excited about the prospect of him coming in, playing alongside the likes of Rashford and Daniel James and that. I think he'd complement our attacking line good, and, it would be better for his career if he did, come and reunite in the Premier League and that. So there could be the next 2 signings that Manchester United try and make in the summer and that. But yeah, there is a lot of players on our current agenda. But, we also need to see more departures. We need to see more players leaving. Obviously, a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. Obviously, last summer we saw the likes of Valencia leave after he endured 10 years at Manchester United. We saw Chris Smalling go out on loan to Roma after he endured 9 years at Manchester United. He was a long-serving player. Obviously, we saw Darmian go to Parma. We saw Pereira go to PSG on a free transfer. And that's probably one of the mistakes Man United did make, was getting rid of Ander Herrera, because you could arguably say he was one of our best players since the Alex Ferguson era. I thought Herrera had a good 3 or 4 years out of the 5 years he was at Man United. Obviously, Fellaini left in January 2019. Of course, Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, of course, both left. I think that's another mistake Man United could have made as well, getting rid of Romelu Lukaku. Because he was a decent player for us. Lukaku had to go in the end because he initially lost his place in the team. We got him back in 2017 from Everton for £75 million. I think the deal was worth 90 million in total with the add-ons, but we paid 75 million up front. But he enjoyed a good first season with the club. His second season didn't really replicate that, but Lukaku in total in his 2 years with Man United scored 42 goals in 96 games in all competitions, and that is actually very, very impressive. But I'm happy with the money we generated from his departure because we more or less recouped the money that we did pay for him from Everton. Now I do believe he's actually doing well with Inter Milan, is Romelu Lukaku. But overall, anyway, he's got a decent pedigree in the Premier League, and like Gary Neville was recently saying, he was recently criticising our recruitment policy, and I've got to agree with him on that aspect because in the last 6 or 7 years, our recruitment policy has been very, very poor. And he obviously, reacted to us getting Bruno Fernandes in and Odion Ighalo in. And, he's basically saying in that aspect that, look, it took Manchester United around 8 or 9 months to replace Romelu Lukaku because we've been in search for a striker for a while. We have now got one in on the board, which is fair enough and that. But it took us a long time to get that replacement for Lukaku. Of course, Alexis Sanchez, he went out on loan to Inter Milan. Sanchez is coming back to Manchester United, as you all know. I updated you about that the other day. It's been confirmed, and according to Solskjaer, he believes Sanchez will come back and he will prove everybody wrong. So Sanchez, after his loan spell with Inter Milan, is going to be coming to Manchester United in the summer, and he's going to be joining with the rest of the pre-season squad, is Sanchez. Now, I think this is another bad decision from the football club, recommending Sanchez back. We shouldn't recommend him back because Sanchez did endure 18 difficult months at Manchester United. Obviously never really got his opportunities, and the main explanation why I didn't really get his opportunities is due to his injuries he had, because he had quite a lot of injuries, did Alexis Sanchez and that. Obviously, the only way we was going to get rid of him was putting him out on loan because not many teams, or if any teams, could afford to pay his wages off because his wages were absolutely substantial. Sanchez at Manchester United was on 400 grand a week, potentially rise up to 500 grand a week, with the bonuses and the image rights and that. But, Sanchez managed 45 appearances in all competitions and scored 5 goals when we got him in from Arsenal back in January 2018 as part of a swap deal with Mkhitaryan. But Sanchez is, definitely coming back, like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has currently confirmed. And obviously, this year we've seen, Ashley Young leave after he endured 8.5 years with a football club. He went to Inter Milan for 1.5 million. And obviously, we saw, Rojo go out on loan to Estudiantes. Solskjaer did say, that we wouldn't, he said before we got Odion Ighalo in, he was very convinced that we wouldn't make any more signings, but we did. And he did actually say that Ashley Young and Rojo wouldn't have left in the January transfer window, but they did. So that just proves, he was wrong on them aspects. He was wrong. But we'll let Rojo go because obviously we've got a lot of centre-backs in the team anyway. You've got Eric Bailly, who's just come back fit now. You've got Fosu Mensah, that's just come back fit. So there's a lot of centre-halves in the team. A lot of centre-halves in the team and all of that. But like I've mentioned on my recent videos, there is fundamental issues at Manchester United, like Rio Ferdinand was saying the other week, and we need to see a variety of changes at the football club. I think, the fans have, huge doubts about the executive and the club's ownership, because I don't like the way the club's been run in the last 6 or 7 years. So I think we've got to get rid of Ed Woodward. We've also got to get rid of the Glazers. I think the Glazers have been, running this club since like 2005 when they got recommended in, and analyse it at least in the last decade. The Glazers have been generating money out of this club. Also, too, we need a change of board because our board have been a liability for several years, and I think Manchester United definitely need to recommend a new board in. We also need a change of management because despite the fact that Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo's come in, it doesn't change my perception on Solskjaer. I still feel as though he isn't the right manager for Manchester United in that. And I think the main explanations why Solskjaer should be sacked as Manchester United manager is because I feel as though he doesn't suit the strappings of the club. He doesn't really have a plan A. He doesn't really have a plan B. He's been tactically naive for the vast majority of this season. And for me, Solskjaer doesn't have a clue how to change the game. That's my perception on it. And as well, he is too inexperienced, this Solskjaer. He's far too inexperienced, this Solskjaer. You know, before he came to Manchester United, he managed Mould. Obviously, he won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. And before he was at Mould, he had a short tenure with Cardiff, did Solskjaer. Obviously, he had a really short tenure with Cardiff, but his record at Cardiff was, very, very bad. So he's too inexperienced, like I mentioned. I think, as a player for Manchester United, he was very, very good because he endured 11 years as a player. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. But I think as a manager, like I've said on a number of occasions, he's totally comparison to how he was as a player and that. And I think, reflecting on the size and the potential of this club, we need to get someone in, whose philosophy is right for the club. Probably a manager to the top level. Probably a manager with a decent pedigree behind him. Don't get me wrong, it's not always the right solution because Man United have obviously already had two managers to the elite level in already. We got Louis van Gaal in. Obviously didn't work out. We got Jose Mourinho in. Didn't work out. Of course, he enjoyed the 2.5-year tenure with the club. But, not all of the blame stems from Solskjaer. What I said just then about Solskjaer, I've got the same perception on Carrick. Because I think Carrick was a good player, but I think he's too inexperienced. I think also Kieran McKenna is too inexperienced. So we need to see a lot of changes at the football club without a shadow of a doubt. But we won't sack Solskjaer now anyway. If we are to sack him, it won't be until the end of the season and that. I think Solskjaer is our worst manager now, statistically anyway. What I know of. Because, we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. Since Solskjaer was appointed Manchester United's permanent manager, he has lost more games in the Premier League than he's won. I think he's, won 11, drawn 9 and lost 12. So his record is definitely very, very bad. So I think another mistake Man United did make anyway was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis and that. But reverting back to what I said, there's more players that need to leave Manchester United in the summer. Definitely more players that need to leave in the summer. And I think Solskjaer has confirmed that there will be more departures and that. So from my perception, I think the players that need to leave, I know a lot have left already, like I mentioned earlier on the video. I think, Andres Pereira, he's a liability. He needs to leave Manchester United, does Andres Pereira. And he's been playing far too much this season, but I think the main explanation why Andres Pereira has been playing so much this season is due to the injury of McTominay. Because I thought before McTominay got injured, he was playing really, really well for Manchester United. Jesse Lingard, he's definitely another player that needs to be moved on because he's been so inconsistent as Jesse Lingard. And like I've mentioned on my recent videos, reflecting on the size and the potential of this club, he should be putting much more better performances out. Because I do believe up until this point, Jesse Lingard has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. Don't get me wrong, he's had some good spells as a Man United player, but I think he's been so bad. At least in the last year, he's been very, very bad as Lingard. He hasn't scored in the Premier League this season. Last year, didn't score one goal or didn't provide one assist. So we've got to get rid of Jesse Lingard. And he's on a substantial amount at the club. He's on around, £100,000 a week. So he is on quite a bit of money. I've been updating you about Anthony Martial, haven't I, on a regular basis recently. And I've got to say, I think Anthony Martial's been bad in his last 6 or 7 league games at least. He's been bad in his last 6 or 7 league games at least in that. And now I think Martial is becoming a liability. I thought he was very, very bad in the game against Wolves. I know some people are saying, he's not getting enough service, Anthony Martial. Don't get me wrong, Anthony Martial's had some good spells as a Manchester United player. Martial now is into his 5th season at the club. He's scored 60 senior goals in 202 appearances for Manchester United. And he's obviously had quite a few injuries this season. But I think now he should be dropped with Anthony Martial. And I think what Solskjaer should do is he should play Mason Greenwood ahead of Anthony Martial. That's my own perception on it. And even Ian Wright said that Mason Greenwood now should be playing instead of Anthony Martial. Because I think Greenwood, from my perception, isn't getting enough starts in the Premier League. And that you can also question Solskjaer on that. Perhaps in the cup games, Mason Greenwood's getting starts, but like in the league games, he's not getting enough starts. And Greenwood, I think, one of the young players that's going to become a success at the football club. It's his first season in the senior squad. Greenwood this season has scored 10 senior goals in 20 odd first team appearances, so he's been absolutely fantastic. And Greenwood is only at the age of 18, so he needs to be playing ahead of Anthony Martial. What I would do now is, in the game against Chelsea, I would play Greenwood and Odion Ighalo up top, and then see how they're combined together. They may complement each other well. This is what I think Solskjaer needs to try, and I think he needs to stick with 3 at the back, because I don't think 4-2-3-1 suits our standards. I really don't, and Solskjaer's been going with that formation on a regular basis this season, and I honestly think we look more expansive with 3 at the back. He went with 4-2-3-1 against Wolves, but in the 2 games prior to the Wolves game, he went with a 3-4-1-2. But we look much better with 3 at the back, and it's proven it this season in the games we've played in. Because in the games we've played in this season, where we've gone with 3 at the back, we've won like 3 and we've drawn 1. So we haven't lost when we've played with 3 at the back and that. But definitely now, got to say, Martial does need to be dropped, definitely. Some people are saying that Luke Shaw needs to be moved on. Obviously, Luke Shaw has had a lot of injury problems as a Manchester United player. He's had some good spells as a United player. I think he also had injury problems when he was at Southampton before. But, since Brandon Williams has come onto the horizon, he's, our preference. Because I think he's a much better solution than Luke Shaw is Brandon Williams. How old is Brandon Williams? Is he 18 or 19 years of age? Like I mentioned, Jones, Maddison, that need to go. So, yeah, there's still a lot of deadwood at the football club, definitely in that. But take into account, I know I want Solskjaer out, and there's still a lot of United fans want him out. Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because there's only 5 players that are his at the moment that he's recruited in. The vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's. Solskjaer is inheriting 9 now of Jose Mourinho's players, because 2 of Mourinho's players left, of course, last summer and that. 2 of Mourinho's players left, but there's still around 9 of Jose Mourinho's players here. There's still players here from the Louis van Gaal era. A lot of players have obviously, left since, the Louis van Gaal era. A lot of players he brought in have left. There's still some players here from the Louis van Gaal era, but Louis van Gaal spent quite a bit of money at the club. David Moyes recruited Juan Mata and, Marion Fellaini in. There's still a couple of players, I think, here from the Alex Ferguson era. So, take into account Solskjaer is inheriting all of them and that. So, and I'd like to mention, we have got good players in our team. We've obviously, we've got better players in Sheffield United. We've probably got better players in Chelsea. We've probably got as good a squad as Leicester. But they're ahead of us in the league table, and we've spent a hell of a lot more money than them in the last 6 or 7 years. I think in the last 6 or 7 years, we've spent nearly £1 billion on recruiting new players in. Not only that, we've also got the highest wage bill in the Premier League, so we should be much more of a commanding position than we're in. Because I did mention, didn't I, at the start of this season, that I expected us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season. Because last season was bad, because last season we finished 6th. I think the lowest we've ever finished in the Premier League era was back under the David Moyes era. But I didn't expect us to win the league this season, and we're not going to win the league for several years. At least in the next couple of years, we're not going to win it. We haven't won the league since 2013, which is now, of course, 7 years ago. And the last time we won it came in Alex Ferguson's last season. But, I think in the next couple of seasons, definitely, our aspirations is going to be that top 4. But we have got quite a few ambitions this season, and those ambitions is to get some silverware on the board, because we need silverware on the board, because we have lacked silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. We could still win the FA Cup. It would be good to win the FA Cup. We could win the Europa League. That's silverware on the board, plus another route to Champions League football. And the top 4 is a priority for us. We're 6 points behind top 4 at the moment. But the only main explanation why we're in that top 4 is because Chelsea have been so inconsistent. You know, we've had so many opportunities this season to close that gap on that top 4, don't forget. So we have got quite a few ambitions. And if we did decide to sack Solskjaer, we'd have to pay something. Anytime we decide to sack him, if we do, within this 2.5 year period, we will have to pay to get rid of Solskjaer. I think we'll have to pay around £5 million. I said, didn't I, in one of my videos, I think he should resign as Manchester United manager. Obviously, he isn't going to do that, though, because then obviously he isn't going to get a payoff. But I feel sorry for him in a way, because I think the club have put him in a very, very difficult position, and I do believe that the job is too big for Solskjaer and that. You know, we have had a lot of injuries this season, but that's not excusable for how inconsistent Manchester United have been. You know, obviously Pogba and McTominay still both out, and obviously when they do come back from injury, you know, we'll look more expansive in that midfield. Some people believe we're still not good enough in midfield even when they do come back, Pogba and McTominay. I think Pogba could be back for the Chelsea game. McTominay could be back for the Chelsea game. You know, we shall currently see. But at least we'll look better when they do come back. Rashford, of course, is out. I think Tuanzebe is still out with injury. You know, I think Tuanzebe is due back sometime this month. He's due back sometime this month and that. But we have had a lot of injuries, definitely. And the game against Chelsea, which is after the winter break, on the 17th of February, you know, it is away from home at Stamford Bridge. We've got to get back to winning ways in the Premier League, because we are winless in our last 3 Premier League games. We haven't even scored a goal in our last 3 Premier League games. And obviously, you know, it is the race for the top 4. You know, could it possibly decide who finishes in the top 4? You know, the game between us and Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, are in the driving seat because they're 6 points clear at the moment and that. They're 6 points clear at the moment. But like I said, you know, we're looking to beat Chelsea for the 3rd time this season, because we've already beaten them twice this season. We beat them 2-1 earlier on in the season in the Carabao Cup at Stamford Bridge. We beat them 4-0 at the beginning of the season at Old Trafford. That's probably one of our biggest wins this season. One of our biggest wins. You know, we're beating them last season in the FA Cup 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. So I think we're unbeaten against Chelsea in like our last 5 meetings. I think, you know, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's beaten Chelsea 3 times as a manager. You know, he's overcome Frank Lampard twice. So this will be Solskjaer and Frank Lampard's 3rd meeting as managers. You know, obviously the preview will be coming up for that. Probably on the 15th of February, the Chelsea Man United preview will be coming up. If I'm right, I think it is on Monday night. But Chelsea are in a similar sort of situation to us, because they've got problems. You know, Frank Lampard's got a big predicament ahead of him. You know, definitely in that. And I don't think he's the right manager for Chelsea in that. You know, I think they've got some okay players, but, you know, they're not as good as they used to be, are Chelsea. They didn't make any signings in January. Of course, they wanted to make some signings, but, yeah. So that's mainly everything to update you with today, guys. Drop your comments, likes below on this channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.